I'm so sorry. That was just... Doug, that was a quick practice one. Just making sure it was working and that. Not on your end. Because you were a bit laggy on my end, so that's why I wanted to try again. So I've got 3 questions for you. Hello Doug again. Sorry about that. We'll press to join then. Doug and that. Sorry about that, mate. I've got 3 questions for you. And sorry about that before. It was a bit laggy. And that. So click on that camera icon. You working? Hello, sorry about that.
There we are.
So I've got 3 questions because I can't think of about 5. It's too hard work. It's too hard for my brain to communicate with all them questions. All right. So I've only got 3 questions. So
Okay.
Question 1, when did you come out and who did you come out to?
Oh, that's a great question. Wow. Well, I didn't come out officially till I was 19. And that was when I was in college. But I didn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
When I was 16, I made an appointment with a psychologist on my own, and I told him, but I couldn't say it because I was so nervous. I had to write it down, and then he said, well, that's a choice you're making, and I thought, he doesn't get it. So I held on to the secret, for another 3 years. And finally, I gradually told people. I didn't come out all at once. So I was in college. I was in a fraternity. I only told a few fraternity brothers. So it was a gradual process, for sure.
Yeah. This is a bit of a hard question, number 2, because like you said, you didn't really come out to people, so it's a bit impossible to say, did the people who you told accept you?
Oh, let's see. Everyone. But when I was about 23, I think, I told my mom, and she was heavily into a Pentecostal church, a very religious thing, and so she was having a hard time with it, and she wanted to send me a Bible and with some passage highlighted, and I said, Mom, you don't have to do that, because you don't have to do that. We're not in the same place as far as your religion thing. But anyways, eventually she accepted, and my only brother is also gay.
That's good.
Yeah. So and so she, eventually she was fine. It was just the church that was hard for her because of her church.
I'm guessing it was a Catholic church as well.
Well, you know what? It was called a Pentecostal church, and it's a heavy duty, very religious kind of place, where people speak in tongues, and everything's a sin, basically. And so I went to her church once with one of my sisters, and we sat there for about 20 minutes, and we looked at each other and said, let's leave. And we left because it was, to me, it was just a crazy thing,
And felt very uncomfortable in there.
Say that again?
And you felt very uncomfortable in there.
Oh, very, very uncomfortable, because the whole sermon was about, if you drink, you're a sinner. if you, I don't, everything was a sin, and basically, and then people started standing up and started, it's called speaking in tongues. I don't know
Yeah.
if you've heard of it, but to me, it sounded like gibberish, but, you know, they were feeling a feeling, and it was just so uncomfortable, and I didn't feel okay there. And my sister, who I was with, is, you know, heterosexual, and she didn't feel comfortable there
No.
either. So we left.
Um. So when you came out, mostly, was it like? Is it me thinking wrong? But was it still during the AIDS crisis or not?
Uh, I'm sorry, say that again.
When you came out, was it still part of the AIDS crisis and all that?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Great question. You know, yes. You know, when I came out, like I said, when I was 19, well, when I was in college until I was 22. I graduated
Yeah.
then. And when I was 20, when I turned 20, that's when AIDS first happened. And
Yeah.
you know, we were in the very beginning of it. Nobody knew what was happening. You know, we heard of this person or this person that had passed away, but we didn't know why. And they were calling it gay cancer.
Yeah.
At, early on, and someone I had gone out with actually. It was just you know, just a dinner date, you know, just a dinner date.
Yeah.
But a few months after that, he died, and that was the first person I knew that died, and so everything started then, and so yeah, that was a incredible time. It still is, you know. There's no cure, you know. So
Last question. Any advice for the younger generation?
you know what? That's a great question. Um, I think, you know, it's different for everybody, but I think that when you have people that you're close to,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's a good chance that they're probably going to accept it. But
Yeah.
I think when you come out, you don't have to tell everybody.
No.
You know, I had a roommate in college that came out, and he told everybody within a space of a week. He called every
Yeah.
relative and every friend, and he told everybody. That was his thing. But and I think, to me, it was easier to gradually come out, like have people
Yeah.
get to know me, and then they don't have to know that I'm gay necessarily. You know, they
No.
just got to know me, and you know, especially my job. When I first started, I was a teacher, and when I first started, I could have been fired for being gay. And so I certainly wasn't going to tell anybody professionally, because I would
No.
have lost my job. But people got to know me, and I think eventually they figured it out. And then in my career here in California, that was in Texas, and then I moved to California. In California, eventually people got to know me, and I was
Yeah.
with someone for 15 years, and I started bringing him to events, and so they, you know, they pretty much knew that I was, you know, I was gay, but they already knew me, and you know, so it was a gradual coming out. So to me, it's like it doesn't have to happen all at once. You know, just when it's comfortable. You know, when it's comfortable to tell people. You know, that's what I think.
I'm still annoyed with certain countries like Uganda and all that, and the death penalty. Why the hell?
Yeah, well, yeah. In other countries, you mean?
Yeah, them countries. It's like, why? Just why?
Mm-hmm.
Can't they just live their lives? Just let them live their lives.
Well, that's so true. And there are countries like that. You know, when I was with my partner, we had it was before same-sex marriage was legal.
Yeah.
So we had a ceremony, and then they called them commitment ceremonies.
Yeah.
And we had a commitment ceremony. It was just like a regular wedding, but we were thinking where to go for our honeymoon, and we ended up going to Tahiti. But we were thinking of another country, and I can't remember what it is. But we found out that it was really, they were really down on gay people, and so
Yeah.
you might get arrested or whatever. So I forget what country it was, but we decided not to go there. But yeah, that it's so backwards, isn't it? Don't you think? I mean, these people that are so concerned about who we love, I just don't get it. I mean, here in the U.S.
But the Maldives, do you mean by the Maldives?
You know what? I think you're right. I think you're right. I think that's where we were thinking about going, and we heard some terrible stories. And I don't know, it could be different now because this was in 2000 that we had that ceremony.
Yeah.
But wow, good guess. Maldives, yeah, that's it. So, anyways, it's just weird to me, And now in the U.S. and I guess in the U.K. you probably hear some U.S. news and things like that.
Don't tell me about it. It's awful what you have to cope with, I tell you.
Well, I live in a great state that is very open, but you can see what's kind of happened here is some very Republican people, very right-wing people.
I had the pilot down again, yeah.
Are really they're introducing laws, and they're getting laws passed against gay people, trans people, and so it's like we're going backwards, But in California, things are good, but we still have a lot of conservative people, and our last president brought about a lot of those, those people finally felt like they could express their opinions, if you know what I mean. So I don't want to get into politics, but anyway, so you've heard that, like in Florida and stuff. I mean, they're removing books from libraries, that might mention same-sex couples or anything, and it's such a step backwards. That's a shame. So, how are things there? How are things in England?
Getting that, like, I'd say it's better than the US. Like, it's more better. We still have odd stuff here and there, but not massive lots. Like over the pond, as you call it. No, we're over the pond, aren't we? What do we call you?
Yeah. Well, I've met a lot of people on TikTok from the UK, and a lot of gay people, and and straight people. But so now tell me this. We don't really know each other very well. So what do you do in the UK? Job-wise.
Doug, let's finish the idea, and I'll explain to you via text, if that's okay. If that's all right. If you don't mind. I just don't really want to explain quite a lot, really. So I'll chat to you soon. Is that all right, Doug?